Believers, welcome to the second episode of the Entertainment Buddha Tubecast, where we talk about everything and anything related to the small screen, because as our mission statement says, we make you a better geek one post at a time, or possibly one tomato at a time. With me, as always, is the better half from the No Pun Intended podcast, Mr. Nick.
Hello. Happy to be here.
There's a lot of NFL news, but we'll have to just,
we'll
have to stockpile all that.
I am itching. Between that and I just saw some lines for baseball over-unders, but...
They do show football on the small screen? Well, anyway, we got too much to talk about.
Yeah.
Too much to talk about.
We're keeping it entertaining television, not soap opera NFL.
Yep. Speaking of entertaining television, tonight we're going to talk about The Last Man on Earth, which is on Fox, a comedy about a man who is, the appropriately titled The Last Man on Earth. We'll also be talking about a little bit of S.H.I.E.L.D, Agent Carter, and then we're going to talk about some spinoffs, maybe some other television news, other riff-raff, so on and so forth. But anyway, on to the principal topic, which is The Last Man on Earth. There's been, 2 episodes, quote-unquote, since it's a half-hour show, but they showed both of them back-to-back on Sunday. Your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. It was... I expected it to be kind of funny and kind of like that kind of laugh, but like there was actually some really funny moments on that show, and I was... yeah, like the Ostrich and Family Guy. I was ha-ha! That was me when I watched it.
I think it's a nice change because most of the other end of the world shows are very serious.
Right.
It's very gory, but this one's just a lot of frills, just having fun. There were a lot of moments when I was watching that. It's just kind of like, you know what? It's probably what I would do if I was the last man on Earth.
Oh yeah, I mean that whole beginning where he's driving around the country and he's just stockpiling. He's got like Michael Jordan's jersey. He's got all those Rembrandt's paintings and all
Jenga Tower.
Yeah, and then he's got the I guess it was Neil Armstrong's astronaut suit or something like that. I was like, you know what? Even though they're completely worthless right now, I still would probably grab some of those things too.
Yeah, but they're worth it to him.
Well, right.
So they have some worth.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. The other big difference is that there aren't any bodies. I thought that was a little weird.
Right. I was thinking that too.
The premise being that some sort of virus swept through the nation or the world and took care of everybody except for Will Forte's character.
Right.
But there are no bodies. There are no animals either.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to make of that or where they're going to go with that, because you would think if people just kind of suddenly got a virus that just spread throughout the country or the world, as you mentioned, that there would probably be some bodies laying around, but
a little bit of cleanup.
Yeah, so far there hasn't been any.
No, the only thing that's messy is his toilet pool.
That was so great when he was cutting out the hole in the diving board. I was like, I know exactly what he's doing.
I didn't realize what he was doing, but I think it's pretty. I'm just curious how far this show is going to go, especially with the revelation that, spoiler alert, it turns out that Will Forte is not the last person on Earth.
Well, that's not the title of the show, so it's still accurate.
I know. It's accurate.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wondered too as I was watching, like, why hasn't someone tried taking this on before? Like a humorous angle of being the last person on Earth. Because like you said, there's been, movies and shows of the last remaining human, but on a more serious level.
Well, I mean, the only thing that they've done that's funny is the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons one, where it's a parody of the Omega Man, where Homer's the last, he thinks he's the last person.
Right.
And he kind of does what Will Forte does and just,
Is that the same one where Homer's in the church singing War, What Is It Good For?
Yeah, that's when he gets caught.
That's one of my favorite Simpsons clips. It's just when he's in his underwear dancing around singing War, What Is It Good For?
Yep.
Yeah.
So other examples would be, there's the Omega Man with Charlton Heston, which The Simpsons rips off. A bomb goes off. Charlton Heston's the last one. There's I Am Legend, which is more like a Walking Dead kind of thing, where there's like a virus that's just sweeps through and takes care of everyone. But Will Smith is like the last. He thinks he's the last guy.
Right.
But there's at least other things, other zombies or reanimated corpses walking around. But in Last Man on Earth, there's nothing. There's just nothing.
Yeah.
It was really funny when they had that little fourth wall moment when, that little meta moment where he's watching Castaway and he's like, I would never talk to a volleyball. And then right as he's about to, give up from being the last man on Earth, he just kind of looks around. He's got his collection of like all the sports balls. He's like, wow, they really nailed it right in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, I especially lost it at the scene where he's at the bar because he's got to get out of the house, and he's got the volleyball, the basketball, the football, and the wiffle ball, and the football's like deflating. He's like, hey, did you lose a little weight? He's like offering them all drinks. He's like, what? No, nobody wants a drink? Nobody? All right. Like I thought that was and then when he's driving in the car to go talk to the mannequin. And the volleyball's in there with him, and he's like basically having a conversation. I think the volleyball's name is Gary, if I remember.
Don't honk the horn, Gary. Yeah. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
I like that he opens doors by just shooting them.
Yes. Yeah, that was something I would do too. I'd be like, you know what? I got a gun. I'm gonna instead of opening the door, I'm gonna shoot the glass. Yeah, and I don't know if you caught this, but when he was in the grocery store, and he was eating Twinkies off his fingers. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was a little like reference to Zombieland or what, but then there was also the time where in the episode where he was like celebrating his birthday and he had a candle also in a Twinkie. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think it's mostly just that Twinkies are kind of like if the thing that lasts forever.
That's true.
The thing that's still in abundance of. I mean,
you didn't see any snowballs.
What was he eating? He's drinking a lot of cerveza.
Yeah.
Some sort of branded beer called cerveza.
When he's laying in the kiddie pool and pouring salt around the edge.
That was funny.
And he pours it like over his legs because he doesn't want to move his legs. I thought that was great.
There were a lot of little moments like that. Like when he was shooting pool and he kept missing the 8-ball and he just kept putting it back.
8-ball corner pocket. 8-ball corner pocket.
Going around the horn with it.
Yeah.
But as we said, Will Forte is not the last person on Earth. There's actually another woman who he meets up with kind of halfway through that first hour. And as it turns out, she is a little more adamant about buddying up at least after their first conversation.
Yes. Yeah, and I thought it was funny because when he's passed out and he's dreaming of the woman that's like kissing him, she's wearing the same thing as the mannequin in the store, which I thought
you're right.
Which I thought was interesting. And then he wakes up and it's Kristen Shaw's character, Carol, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And he quickly finds out that she still stops at stop signs and parks in correct parking spaces.
There's a parking space.
Yeah.
There's a parking space. Everywhere is a parking space.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny how desperate he was to see one woman, and he sees one and then like immediately tries to abandon her. I thought that added a little extra oomph to the episode.
It's a good contrast for them. It's a good contrast.
Even though like you and I had discussed, via text message that we thought maybe it felt kind of early to bring in another person already.
Little soon,
but I don't know. I thought
it's largely like where's it going to go from? Are they going to meet more people? I mean, it's
right, and I'm always concerned with like network shows like Fox or like ABC doing this kind of show, like because channels like stations like FX and AMC have gotten so good at writing that it's kind of easy to jump in on them and be like, you know what, this show's on FX, they have a good history, I'm gonna watch it. Like Fox, I was kind of like, I don't know, like I like Will Forte, I kind of like the premise, I feel like it might be really lame, and then I watched it and I was like, all right, it's actually really good.
right? You can imagine they'll have like a good, first 4 or 5 episodes, and then after that they kind of run out of gas, and
right,
like the story kind of starts to lag.
And I don't know if there's been any news as far as how many seasons they're signed on for or anything like that, but I mean, if they keep it short, like 4 or 5 seasons, like I could see it being decent, but I don't know. Especially
it's the end of the world. Where are they going?
Well, maybe they travel overseas and steal things from France.
Carol doesn't appreciate that.
No.
Those belong somewhere. See, the thing that I was kind of hoping that it would be, even though I didn't think it was going to be, there's a comic book called Why the Last Man, which is literally he's the last man,
mm-hmm.
and but females have survived, so it's like a whole slew of women that are just vying for this one guy.
Interesting.
So maybe it'd be something like that, where it's like he falls for Carol, and then they end up meeting up with like a whole bunch of other women or something. He's like, do I really want to abandon Carol after this, relationship we struck up? Or
well, yeah, and especially now that they're engaged.
Yeah.
Which was also really funny.
It's her stick-to-itiveness that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really true. And I thought it was hilarious that she wanted to move. At first, I thought she was going to move in with him. When they showed her, like, unpacking the U-Haul trailer, I thought she was, like, bringing her stuff to live with him. And then it was like, oh, no, it's next door. But that's still really weird. But when she's like, why, are you worried about me seeing you naked or something like that? And he just, like, pulls up his shirt and drops his drawers. I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. And she's all, oh, hello. Hi, little guy. How are you doing?
The other thing I didn't understand is why he stayed in that house, even though he trashed it. Like, just go to another house.
Well, there's
like 5 of them.
His
that
Jenga tower was there.
It's all his paintings and all his little knickknacks.
He'd have to redecorate.
I guess. What else is he gonna do?
Although, why Tucson? Of all places, why Tucson?
Probably because they could film in Tucson without having to worry about a lot of people.
That could be true.
Like I think that's why they don't do it a lot on Walking Dead, because it's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Because I think it was a pretty big deal when they did a couple of episodes from the first half of the season where they were in the city and they had to make it look like nothing was there.
Right. And that's kind of how Breaking Bad was too, I guess. They filmed in New Mexico. One of the big reasons being because it was easy to get the permits and everything, and it was cheaper than like other states to film in. And it ended up being a really good background scenery for Breaking Bad and now Better Call Saul. So maybe that had something to do with it for Tucson, but I just thought that was kind of like, of all the places a guy could settle down, he was gonna take Tucson. I don't know. Is he from Tucson?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, that was kind of my guess, is that maybe he's from there and he wants to at least live someplace recognizable.
That's a good question. Well, that's why there's more episodes.
Yeah.
But we're buying.
Yeah. I'm in so far.
Yep. Similar sentiment. After 2 episodes, I'm definitely gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
Speaking of sticking with it, have you stuck with Agent Carter to the end of the season, or you still have a couple more to go?
I still have about 2 episodes to go before I get to the end of Agent Carter.
Okay. So, long story short, is Agent Carter finished? S.H.I.E.L.D. started up, and in case you hadn't read anything about S.H.I.E.L.D., the big story is that Inhumans are now kind of the principal plot line for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Daisy finds out, well, we find out that her name's Daisy. Skye goes through the transformation into an Inhuman, and now she has the ability to, I don't know, create seismic activity, I guess. She's Quake in the comic books. But now she hasn't really done anything that big. But Inhumans are the new popular thing, like Hydra was when we were getting closer to Captain America Winter Soldier.
Right.
Inhumans are now the thing, even though the movie's 3 years away? The Inhumans movie's 3 years away.
Okay. Which movie will that be?
Inhumans.
Oh, it's just called Inhumans.
Literally called Inhumans.
All right. Points for creativity.
I thought Agent Carter was pretty good. It was fun to see Jarvis and Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And like I said, even though I still have a couple episodes to go to catch up on that, I'm pretty happy. I was a little skeptical going in because I'm not always a fan of television shows set in that era, like in the 40s. And I wasn't really sure what to expect with it, but the plots, they've kept me going with the plot, and like you said, Howard Stark and seeing Jarvis was kind of a bonus too. So I'm okay with it. I think Haley Atwell's done a really great job, and hopefully this helps open up some more opportunities for her.
I mean, it was kind of a tough place for Marvel only because there's not a lot you can tie with it.
Right.
We see Haley Atwell's character in Winter Soldier, and she's really old, and she's, she was with S.H.I.E.L.D. for so long. I don't know what they could have tied into it, because I thought maybe they'll tie in like Hank Pym for the upcoming Ant-Man movie, but even if he would have done that, he would have had to have been, if this is in the 40s and Hank Pym's, like an early 20s guy, it means he would have had to done all that Ant-Man stuff in like the 50s or 60s.
Right. Yeah, that kind of would have been a tough tie-in for Marvel.
Yeah, I think they just kind of left it in its own little nebulous and just tell the story and not worry about drawing too many things into it.
Right. Yeah, because they've got so much going on between television shows and movies that it might be hard for people to kind of keep track of what's what.
It's like the TV shows are now turning into the comics where you have to keep track of every week, all the episodes and all the interweavings.
Yeah, various story arcs.
So the question is, now we're going to get to kind of our discussion topic with spinoffs. I mean, Agent Carter's a spinoff, but if they continued Agent Carter into, I guess, like the 50s or 60s, but it was like the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, where it was like the foundations of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was like Peggy Carter and maybe some things that are, like Howard Stark, and maybe some things that might end up tying in with the Marvel Universe. I mean, would you watch like a S.H.I.E.L.D. Foundation show? Would you stick with it?
I think I would, because then that kind of like ushers in like a young, like you could bring in a young kid to play like young Tony Stark. You know what I mean? Like it's obvious from, the Iron Man movies that Howard Stark and Tony Stark didn't really have the greatest relationship, but you could kind of see, if there was this show like you're talking about, you might be able to see kind of more of that, and that kind of ties like one generation into another. So yeah, I think I would watch that.
I mean, I don't think they would do it because they already have a lot of what's the saying? Coals in the fire? That's not right. They have a lot of things cooking right now that I don't know that they would worry about.
There's a lot of buns in the oven.
Sure. That's my general thesis, the crux of what I was about to say, because they have S.H.I.E.L.D., which is something they'll ostensibly keep going with. Then they have the Daredevil Netflix show.
Irons.
The Luke Cage.
Too many irons in the fire. That's what it is. I had to look it up because it was bothering me.
Is there an Iron Fist show? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's one of the Netflix.
Yeah, there's Jessica Jones,
Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron
Fist.
Is it Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could start with Iron and then just kind of, make a guess. Yeah. Iron Person, Iron.
Well, yeah, because then those are all going to tie together
Skillet.
too at some point.
A little bit.
Those 4 shows going on Netflix, they will each have their own season, and then the 5th year they're going to tie into each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, according to what I read when they first announced this.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
So yeah, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil will each have their own individual season, and then the fifth one will bring them all together. Apparently,
I mean, the Daredevil they've already said is linked to the Marvel universe at large by some weird coincidence. Like Daredevil's dad fought the Absorbing Man's dad or something in boxing. It's like one of those little winks. It's not like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Hydra is in the Shield show and then it's in Winter Soldier. It's not gonna be that big,
right?
Where was I going with this?
We were talking about a Shield.
Right. Shield Foundation.
Shield Foundation.
Patent pending. Can't call it Shield Foundation without giving me credit. Marvel. So anyway, Agent Carter, pretty good. It was 8 episodes. Shield started up again. Inhumans are so in right now.
Is this the new season of Shield, or is this the
this is like one of those BS like middle of the year returns.
Okay. I got you.
So if you had to, you get a choice. You can either make a spin-off show of anything. It doesn't have to be like a thing that's in development now. You can make it up for all I care. I mean, we're creative. Why not? Or you could take away a spin-off show.
Huh. Well, most of the spin-off shows that are bad take themselves away.
That's true.
So
there was an article I'm not going to say it. There was an article circulating someplace in which somebody looked at how long spin-offs last.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked, I mean, it was, anyway. It seemed as though a lot of spin-offs last almost as long as the original show, like Frasier or...
Family Matters was a spin-off show.
Family Matters, that was it.
Yeah.
It was Family Matters and Frasier were like the ones that lasted either as long or almost longer than the original show.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot, as you said, most of the ones, don't actually last.
There was one terrible one that lasted longer than the original, and I'm still upset about it.
What?
Saved by the Bell, the new class. Lasted
longer?
I believe 7 seasons, and the original Saved by the Bell was 5.
Oh, I missed that because they showed the college years.
Yeah, you could add the college years as 6, and then the wedding in Vegas as 7 if you really wanted to. But
no,
if we're talking original Saved by the Bell, the high school age years, they were, I believe, 5 seasons, and new class was like 6 or 7.
I didn't know that there were 3 spin-offs of Married with Children. True story. None of them lasted naturally, but it's just
I didn't know
weird.
that either.
It's like a character that showed up in one episode gets their like completely different show. It's not like, Harriet Winslow is a security guard at the newspaper office and they're like, this character has a legitimate backstory.
Yeah.
Let's tangent. Days gone by.
Well, I thought of one that I think would be interesting, if not crazy, to see. Are you ready for this?
Fire away.
Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
With Bert and Ernie.
So what's Bert and Ernie's role in this?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't thought that far ahead. I have to decide if I want them to be buddies from the beginning or if they're like enemies that become friends.
Oh,
well,
so maybe it's like,
I thought of that because earlier we were talking about like crazy, silly things mixed up with serious things.
Mashups.
Yeah, mashups. I guess so. Maybe not a spin-off, but a mashup.
That still counts.
All right. Maybe Cookie Monster's, out there dealing cookie dough that's illegal or something like that, and I don't know.
Hey, Bert, you want to go run some guns this weekend?
Exactly.
That could work.
That's crazy. No, as far as spin-off, I mean, a lot of the spin-off shows on now, at least the ones I can think of, are solid.
Oh, and I should also say that the author of this article speculated that Better Call Saul will last, what did he say, 3 seasons? Like 30 some odd, like 34 episodes? I thought that was stupid.
He doesn't think it'll last?
It will. But he was saying that, if you take the average of things that last long and don't last at all, he said, well, naturally you get something that lasts half the time. So I think it's going to let.
You want to do that kind of math?
Well, yeah, I know. I didn't agree with it. I've had some major grievances with people using numbers lately, but that's neither here nor there. It's not for this podcast. No. It's outside the purview. Anyway, spinoff.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the spinoffs on TV now that I can think of, Better Call Saul, Agent Carter are both really well done so far. What do you know of any other spinoffs on right now?
I'm
trying to think, and I can't.
I mean, I'm not counting like those CSI.
Yeah, that's
slightly renamed kind of baloney. That doesn't count.
There's like 10 of those.
Spinoff now. I don't think it's like really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's not as major as like you take just like the Happy Days, you go Joni Loves Chachi, or like the Brady Bunch, you go into the Brady Girls.
Right. Yeah, people aren't as quick to fire to pull that trigger.
Or Darkwing Duck.
I like Darkwing Duck.
Was that really on DuckTales? I don't remember that.
I don't. I always thought it was its own cartoon.
Its own beat. Oh, well, Launchpad was on. Maybe that's the link.
Yeah, that could be. Well, was Tailspin a spinoff of the Jungle Book? Because it was blue. Or not?
I don't know.
I mean, it was just.
I didn't really watch Tailspin.
I did. All right.
Spinoff now, though. I'm trying to think of what
I mean, whenever I think of spinoffs, like the first two that come to mind, just because they were kind of prominent, in our high school era, was Joey from Friends got his show.
Yeah.
And Michael Richards got his show, neither of which lasted.
Which one was what was Michael Richards about?
It was about him. It was called The Michael Richards Show.
Oh, but it wasn't it wasn't Kramer.
Well, no, it wasn't Kramer, but like he got
but it was his.
He got his own show. I don't know if you count that as a spinoff or not, but
I mean, do you count Curb Your Enthusiasm as a spinoff? I don't think it is.
No, you're right. 'Cause, yeah, it's a different character. The Joey one was a spinoff, obviously, because he was still Joey, but yeah.
Spinoff now. I should have put more thought in my own question. That's what I get. I'm so stupid.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Let's see what some of these are here.
Great radio. I don't know. I really like Saul. I caught up. I would recommend it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, I guess you could. I mean, like you can count the Flash as a spinoff, I guess, because the Flash was originally on Arrow for like 3 episodes, but I don't count that. That doesn't count.
There was gonna be a spinoff of How I Met Your Mother called How I Met Your Dad.
Oh, that tanked.
That failed. Let's see. Apparently, there might be a Walking Dead companion series.
Oh, maybe. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's the one I would want removed.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need... Well, I don't know. I mean, essentially, it's just taking place in like a different location. Mm-hmm. Maybe a different time. Maybe it's giving us that link between how things were normally from until like when Rick wakes up in the coma, and we kind of don't know what happens between then.
Right.
What happens to everybody, what the breakout. So I think that's kind of when it takes place, but largely it's just in a different location. So it's not Georgia. It's like molasses running out of your mouth.
Let's see. Another one is a spinoff from Party of Five called Time of Your Life.
I think I remember that.
I don't remember that. Young Americans was spun off of Dawson's Creek.
I don't remember that. Well, I'm having trouble thinking my answer. So we're going to go sideways to something I do know the answers to. They're rebooting a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. Shows that we're familiar with from, say, maybe the mid '90s. They're either rebooting them or they're slightly retooling them and bringing them back. Examples are Girl Meets World. Mm-hmm. Did you stick with that? Did you watch any
I
of
watched
those?
the first episode and that was it. Apparently, who was it? Will Friedle makes appearance in one of the later episodes. I think Corey's brother on the show. Did Sean ever make an appearance? I don't remember.
I think he did.
Okay.
I think they made a big deal of it. Yeah, like you. I think I watched 2.
I watched the first because I wanted to see Topanga, and I did, and then I stopped.
And that was it.
Then I stopped because it was too focused on the daughter. It was too focused on her. I mean,
well,
I know that's the point.
I think that's the idea. I mean, they make movies like this. I think Wreck-It Ralph was kind of like that, where it's largely geared towards the younger audience, but you throw in enough nostalgia,
right?
That it's enough that maybe an older audience can get their fix. So it's like you want to do a show about a preteen or a teen going to this this school or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, we'll just we'll revolve the Boy Meets World crew around it. So then it's like, oh, the kids will get their fix out of it, and maybe the young adults will get their fix out of it. Maybe they'll want to watch it. Maybe the adults will want to watch it, and they'll force the kids to watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their gateway.
That could be. I know my dad likes a lot of the Pixar movies because there's a lot of like adult humor, not adult humor, but jokes that only grown-ups kind of get and understand. And meanwhile, the kids just like the funny slapstick kind of humor.
Yeah, that's making the movie so that it appeals to the two generations. But I think and especially with the announcement that they're going to bring back DuckTales for 2017, it's one of those things where maybe the subject matter is mostly for kids, but the fact that you identified with it when you were younger, maybe you'll just tune in just for the nostalgia. It's not
right.
It's not necessarily that DuckTales or Girl Meets World appeals to adults, but the fact that you grew up with Boy Meets World and DuckTales, maybe you'll just tune in. I mean, I really don't know what the DuckTales will be like. I mean, I'm sure I might check it out, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really know that kids even know who DuckTales are.
Right. And it's kind of hard to go back, like us being older and it being so long since those shows were on TV. That's like obviously it's gonna
DVDs are for.
Well, yeah, or VHS if you really want to go back, but
ooh, yeah.
Obviously it's gonna have a different feel because it's gonna look different. Technology's better, and it's just it'll never feel the same just because of the time difference.
Like if DuckTales is in CGI.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Exactly.
I don't know that they would do. My guess is it's going to look like the Ninja Turtle show on Nickelodeon right now, where it's that like really basic looking CGI kind of stuff.
Yeah. See that's
my guess.
That doesn't appeal to me at all.
I know it doesn't appeal to me either.
Is DuckTales going to be on Disney then?
Yeah, the Disney XD channel. I think that's like their.
See, when I was growing up, it was Disney and Toon Disney, and that was it.
Oh yeah. They had the cartoon block.
You had your movie channels, and then your everything else channel.
I know.
Your even
simpler times.
Your Even Stevens, and those were the days.
That's So Raven.
I never. No. Nah, that was a little bit after.
It was funny.
My brother watched it, but he's also 5 years younger.
Oh, Corey in the House was a spinoff of That's So Raven.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know that did so well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do they make DuckTales the same style of show where it's like adventure and searching for relics and treasure hunting and stuff? Or do they kind of gussy it up and change it and make it, more appealing to adults? Like, is it, as in the zeitgeist right now, things are getting a little grittier and darker.
Right.
Vis-a-vis, the Marvel movies, ostensibly the DC movies, and the fan-made Power Rangers movie, the 14-minute short, right, which was extremely gritty and dark. It's like,
which I still need to watch if it hasn't been removed from the internet.
No, they put it back on.
Oh, did they?
That was
Okay.
they took it off, and then they had they had reactions from like the original Power Rangers and stuff,
Right.
and they all hated it. They said it was not what Power Rangers was about, which I don't know. Like, you're not in it. Why would you say that it's great?
Yeah.
I didn't really care. But then there's going to be another Power Rangers movie, and it's like, is this the template for the new movie? This like dark, gritty, swearing. Do you tone it down? I mean, do you make it more adult so that it appeals again to, the younger adults that grew up with Power Rangers, but still is accessible to kids? Or do you make it just, completely a kids movie with maybe like a double entendre or two?
Right. Well,
Or like
if they want me to watch it, they'll have to make sure Amy Jo Johnson returns.
If
as the
they
Pink
want
Power
me
Rangers.
to watch it.
Yeah. If Amy Jo Johnson is not in this reboot of Power Rangers, then they've lost my Nielsen rating.
Well, there's your focus grouping. Whoever holds the rights.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it is. Anyway. But I don't know.
Speaking of mashups, what if they did a mashup of Power Rangers and Perfect Strangers and called it Power Strangers? And then Balky can do his little like dance of joy and like his robot guy. I would see that. I would watch that.
You would watch that?
I would. I'd watch it once. I don't know about repeatedly, but
Listen, Power Rangers, it's either you have Amy Jo Johnson or you mash it with Perfect Strangers.
Those are the only two options. And that is it.
Oh, that would be so weird. But anyway. There was one bit of TV news.
Mm-hmm.
It was one bit of TV news. The actor who played George Costanza's boss, Mr. Kruger, unfortunately passed away. Fans will also remember him as Malcolm in the Middle character. What was his name? Commandant Spangler. That's it.
Oh, yes.
Daniel von Bargen.
Yeah, he was in probably my favorite Seinfeld episode, the Festivus episode.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Stiller's yelling at him.
You'll get your turn, Kruger.
My son tells me your company stinks. Yeah, that's a shit. How old was he?
64.
64. Did they say a cause?
Just illness.
I see. Was he ever in any movies or anything, or was he more of the television realm?
Oh, you know what he was in? He was in Super Troopers. He was the...
Oh, he was the other cop. The other...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the state chief or sergeant or whatever. That's right.
That's the one.
That's right. Interesting. I forgot he was in that.
Don't you want to read it? Whatever. Anything else, Dad? We got reboots. We got spinoffs. We got
reboots. I'm kind of looking forward to these. I know we touched base on them, but I'm looking forward to these Netflix Marvel shows. I'm just hoping that they're available for binge watching and not.
No, that's. I think that's the thing to do. If it's going to be on Netflix, you just drop them all at one time.
There were talks that they might release them, like they might film them all, then like have them ready to go. Like instead of filming like on a weekly basis, they would film everything ahead of time, but they would still only release it like a week, like each week.
No, the only show that I know is going to be like that is Powers on the PlayStation. Whatever that deal is.
Okay.
That is, they drop, I think it's the first two on a certain day, and then after that they add one.
Okay.
One every, Tuesday or something.
Okay.
But for the Netflix stuff, I'm pretty sure they're just dropping it all in one day.
Okay. I mean, I just heard rumblings that might not be the case, but.
So get your Mr. Pibb, get your Fritos.
Or your popcorn.
Get your birthday cake cookies.
Maybe the cotton candy Oreos if they're available by then.
I saw somebody put a picture up but I haven't found them.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget when they were supposed to be released, but
Well, they have a saying in the food industry: farm to table, mine's factory to mouth. Just don't even bother wrapping it up. I'll just see it now.
Yep.
I'll see it now. Don't even bother putting them in sleeves.
Let's see. Is that it for? I thought there was something else. What am I missing?
Yeah.
All right.
There's time.
Yeah. Well, we always have the reviews on the website too, so you can always check out.
Sure.
Gotham and Better Call Saul if you haven't yet.
Yep.
Always worth a watch. And we're both on board for Last Man on Earth thus far.
Oh yeah. I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
So it seems like we've talked about all the things we wanted to talk about for the second episode. We're going to be switching to a bi-weekly format after this episode, so that we'll riff off of the off week for the main Buddhacast. So the Buddha Tube cast will be moving to bi-weekly, but
that means every other for the.
Yeah. You could say fortnightly.
That's a little more confusing.
Fine. We'll go your way. Bi-weekly.
I mean, if you're talking to Abe Lincoln, you might be okay, but he hasn't been around.
Mashup. Abe Lincoln and House of Cards. Done. Do it. No, Abe Lincoln and what's the one on Showtime? I can Claire Danes. I can't think of the name.
Homeland.
Homeland. Yes.
Actually, you know what? You could just insert Abe Lincoln into any modern television show, and it would be amazing.
Walking Dead. Wait, they already did that. Sorry.
Gotham. Abe Lincoln. It's just a criminal that dresses like Abe Lincoln.
There seems to be a man who walks like a penguin. But I completely lost my train of thought after that Gotham mashup. Anyway, so everything that we talked about, I don't think there was anything we poo-pooed the second episode. So we're all pretty on board with, Last Man on Earth,
yeah.
Agent Carter, S.H.I.E.L.D, mashups, DuckTales, Power Rangers, question mark? I don't know.
Power Strangers, cross your fingers.
Power Strangers, good choice. We'll have to start a letter writing campaign or a petition or something.
All right. I'll get Peggy Carter on it. I guess I do have one qualm with that show. It seems, and like I said, I'm not a huge fan of movies or TV shows set in that time period unless it's like about the actual war. And I know that like that's how guys treated women then, but it still comes off as like cheesy. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I wasn't.
That's part of the thrust for the things that happen in Mad Men. Like it's a period piece, and that's just kind of like
I guess
some of the motivation for the things that happen.
Yeah, but it's just like this woman like had a huge part in Captain America and the war and everything, and now she's like taking lunch orders and being called doll and getting slapped in the rear end, and it's like I don't know. I know it's a time, and I'm sure it was probably accurate, but it just to me it comes off as like a little cheesy. But I'm not gonna not watch the show because of that.
Right. It's just like the Cops cartoon. It's a reflection of the time.
Yeah.
Fighting crime in a future time.
And I used to.
Nobody knows what I meant.
I do.
But like 2 other people are gonna know what I'm talking about.
I used to watch that show all the time.
It was good.
It was.
Still good.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of all the things that we've been talking about, there's plenty of reviews, like Nick said, for Gotham, for Better Call Saul, on entertainmentbuddha.com. Everything's there. Anything you can want, because as our mission statement says, we're making you a better geek, one post at a time. Nick, plug your social network. Networks. Plural.
Twitter, Nick Hershey.
Shot out of a cannon.
At Nick Hershey 33. On Instagram, Nick Hershey. We also have Entertainment Buddha on Instagram, so check us out there.
Check us out. That's it for episode 2, the Tube Cast, 2 for Tube. Turn the channel.